So today we got Tristan Muriyama from One Moment Hawaii, a very successful wedding company that also has branched out to Vegas. Tell me about that. How'd you guys get out to Vegas?
Man, to be honest, we just I wouldn't say lucky, but it was just a friend of a friend. Like one of my friends, he was from here in Hawaii, Honolulu, and then he just he moved to Vegas just because of personal reasons. But then he moved there. He wanted to get into the wedding industry, so he did. He got a job over there. But then he saw how good the wedding industry was in Vegas, so he hit us up and he was like, "Hey Tris, I think One Moment would do really good in Vegas." I was like, "Oh really? Why?" Because I don't know anything about the the Vegas market.
Right.
So then, so I was like, "Oh, how come?" He's like, "Because there's like so much weddings happening, a lot of elopements. People just come here just because it's Vegas, right? They go there to party,
Right.
But then they just want to do a quick wedding and then just have fun, right? So he saw how good the market was. He thought One Moment would do really good over there. So we made a deal with them, and that's how we pretty much branched off to Vegas. Yeah.
Nice. And when you first started One Moment Hawaii, was that kind of your goal to branch out?
That was, to be honest. Actually, me and my partner were actually we were talking about like taking it across the country. That was like the dream goal, right? We wanted like a One Moment California, One Moment Vegas, One Moment New York, just having that dream. And it's surprising, like we actually said that when we actually first started the company. And it's crazy to think that it's kind of coming into fruition because of that.
Taking One Moment Hawaii to Vegas, and you said that was always in your game plan. That's what you and your partner had envisioned from the very get-go. From the beginning, what kind of background did you and Daniel have as far as starting up this business?
Man, to be honest, so I'll go Daniel first. He worked tons of jobs actually before we even started the business. He was a flight attendant. He worked, as a waiter for different restaurants, sales, like a bunch of things. So he had like a million jobs. Compared to me, I only had one working for you. But that was pretty much it. Ever since I started working for you and all my friends were just into photography, that's what kind of made me want to just get into the industry.
Right.
So, but then I knew Daniel for a long time, honestly, since we were like small kids. And we went to high school together, and I knew he took a videography class. So that's why I kind of reached out to him and said, "Hey, you know what? I think photography and videography would do really well together, and then we can create a package, and then, just serve whoever needs it, right?"
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much how we started.
And you guys took it. I mean, from the time, you were working with me, and from the time that you're like, "Hey, John, I think it's time that I move on. I'm going to do my own thing with Daniel." I felt really like, to be honest, to today, I feel really proud of that. Like that I could actually help you prepare yourself to take that step. And I think that's super, for me, that's always going to be like one of my, as a business owner, something high on my achievements that, hey, you know what? I was able to mentor somebody to take it to the next level. All the while, you were still going to school though at UH, right? You majored in business.
Yeah.
Those two, tell me about that combination from working here and everything that you learned at UH, taking those things and putting it into becoming a business owner.
That's a good question. No, but like, I guess, man, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly didn't want to go to school in the beginning. I didn't want to go to school. I honestly just wanted to pursue my business, pursue my passion. I knew what I wanted to do already. But after talking to my dad and stuff like that, you gotta go to school. I gotta go to school.
Yeah, right.
So then, but anyways, long story short, everything I learned in school, it was good. It was good stuff. I don't retain things very well. So I'm not gonna lie, I forgot a lot of things from school already. but no, but then honestly, school is very it's straight to the books. They don't teach you a lot of things that I felt like I needed to learn in business. Especially, I learned a lot of stuff more here, working here through experience than I did at school.
What are a few of those things that you feel that, you learn more real world than you did in the books?
Well, school doesn't teach you like how to connect to people, how to do sales. Those are like key components for a business, as a business owner especially, right?
In a retail and sales industry, right?
Yeah,
it's becoming knowing your customer, being able to relate and talk to them all at the same time and fulfilling their needs. In school, you don't role play, you don't sit down and you don't learn how to interact with people. And I think that's definitely a key component that you do learn, on the job, in the field, right? That really school can't teach you about, especially in photography. How much of our time is spent interacting with customers, interacting with our clients that we need to make them feel as comfortable as possible. So I think that's great, and you're able to learn that here. What other things do you think,
Well, no, like for instance, like school, it taught me a lot about like I'm not gonna say school as a whole let down. It did teach me good information, right? Like how to do marketing, like specifically, how to do like some accounting. I wasn't really good at it, but it still taught me like certain things, like how to make a balance sheet and stuff. But those kind of aspects even teaches you like HR and stuff like that. But right, like it doesn't teach you. Like I said, it doesn't teach you how to connect, how to do sales, and also like how to be creative. Like I think that's a really big thing as a business owner. You have to like learn how to shift.
So when you say creative, you're not talking about, I'm a creative photographer, right? Explain creativity.
Oh, sure. That's a good question.
You just said it.
Like for instance, like you just gotta learn how to like pivot.
Right.
Like when the market's good, learn how to like attain more clients. Like how do you market to those clients who need photography and videography, right? And then even when the market's down, like how do you shift? How do you pivot that? Like how do you get them to purchase photography and videography?
To me, you have a very good wedding a very good wedding company. It's growing. I see what you guys are doing. I think it's really nice.
Right.
You have a very good relationship with different wedding industry partners that dream Aloha.
Right.
Aloha Dream. You guys are doing very unique things on a regular basis. Tell me how you came up with those ideas, or how you like you said, how you pivoted.
Okay, so okay, so I guess what we did was first off, when like just to get us off the pandemic, we kind of got creative with like the setups of like stuff that we did for like proposals and stuff like that. Like it's not just your general, have a photographer come, go on one knee, we'll capture it, and then pow. We did like a whole, the marquee signs saying "Marry Me." We brought like the, red rose petals, roses, all those good stuff to just spice up the proposal, and then that's how we kind of got a little more creative, because a lot of people like in this industry in Hawaii doesn't do that.
Right. From one business owner to the other, like what did you consider and what did you do in order to get through that pandemic?
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. To be honest, what I did was, I guess my experience through the pandemic, honestly, we hit the floor. We hit the floor. Once 2020 came, COVID came, the pandemic came, we were honestly broke. Our business was on the floor. We had no money. I had no money personally. And then I remember I was at home. I was lying on my girlfriend's lap, which is now my fiance. But I was lying on her lap and I told her, like, honestly, I'm broke. I have no money. I don't know what to do. I might have to just go back work. The next day, you called me, "Hey, Tristan, you want to come back work?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sounds good." And then I came back work. I worked throughout the whole year, just because honestly I didn't know how else to come back up, because a lot of my business, it hits the we market to the tourists, and we don't have a lot of local business. And plus too, I know a lot of locals during that time was hurting. So it's not just our business. A lot of businesses were shut down, unfortunately. But that's just what happened. That's just what happened to us. So I had to come back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of my guys, right? They came
Right.
for like a week or so. But it wasn't a bad thing. We just
Right.
all had to just survive. We
Do
were
what
just
you
doing
guys needed to do.
Yeah, we just had to do what we had to do. But then I worked for like that whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And then my partner Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
he ended in a week. But then the reason why is because he knew out of all those other jobs he worked in the past, he just didn't want to work, as like a employee and stuff
Right.
like that. It's not his fault. That's just
Mm-hmm.
that's just what he wants to do. So he just wanted to reboot One Moment in Hawaii when he had the chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I just needed to survive, honestly. And all of us did. But yeah, he just stayed home. He just did nothing, just saved money, waited for that moment till the tourism market came back to Hawaii, and then that's when he booted it back up.
What steps did you guys take to boot back up?
Right. So we had a lot of old footage and stuff like that. So what we did was he actually posted, all of our old stuff, right? Just keep reposting, like we're back in business kind of thing. What we do really strongly in, and it's surprising that we know how to do it because we never learned it before, is something called SEOs. So we do like
What is SEOs for those who don't?
So it's called search engine optimization, and what that does is you use keywords from like reviews and stuff, and like let's say Hawaii photographer, Oahu wedding photographer, stuff like that, as much as those words as possible into your website, and then when people search up like Hawaii wedding photographer, you rank higher on those Google listings.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really good at that. During that pandemic time, he on Google you could actually like learn how to do SEOs,
Mm-hmm.
and they teach you for free. So that's what he did. And
During
then,
that time, just studying on how to market
pretty much.
better.
Yeah. So he took that time to study, and then like 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
like businesses started going back up, and then that's when I was like, I talked to you, and I was like, man, I gotta. All my friends, they're doing it. They booted it back up. I gotta go back to it. And I felt really bad, during that time. They were all, building the business,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt bad that I wasn't, But I also did really love this job at the same time. I did, but I just felt like I had to go back to, One Moment Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, ever since that time, I went back to working One Moment Hawaii, and then. Yeah, from there, everything just started booming. The tourism market was just going nuts. Everyone wanted to come to Hawaii. Business was just up. And honestly, last year was like the most we've ever gotten,
Mm-hmm.
and the most busiest. So
In addition to like the like the search engine optimizers, what other things do you think contributed to that growth in business? Is it just strictly tourists coming back?
No. Honestly, it was a lot of partnerships too. We did partner with a lot of companies. Like I said earlier about the marquee signs, we have a strong relationship with them, and they have good connections in the wedding industry, and just being not the only, but like one of the strongest marquee letter signs on Oahu.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a good partnership with them, good partnership with other wedding planners and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was honestly like the partnerships that we've grown and we've connected with over the period of time, which really helped us get back up on our feet.
From the time that you started to about now, the wedding industry and what visitors are looking for, has it changed?
Sorry, so one more time?
From the time that you started, when did you start One Moment Hawaii?
2018.
So from 2018 till now, 2023, like has the needs and wants of those visitors, of your customers, right? These destination wedding couples that you want to call them, right? Has their wants changed? Like,
I wouldn't say, oh man, I'm not too sure if their wants changed. I just know our services grown kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like for instance, like before we weren't doing like the marquee letters or those red rose petals for proposals. We weren't doing like same day edits or 4K footage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we weren't doing that back then. So I'm not sure if that's what they wanted back then, but I know now that's what everybody kind of wants, is like that high quality, that nice storytelling in a video or photos, those nice extravagant setups or proposals. That I know now that's exactly what everyone wants. That's what everyone is looking for. They want like the best of the best, you know?
Right.
And that's what we hope to be. And so, yeah, everything just kind of got better.
And you know, from that time, 2018 till now, like what besides the pandemic, what other struggles do you think as a wedding photographer you folks have encountered? You know,
Man, there was a lot. Honestly, we used to when we first started the company, we actually had like 20 people on our team. We would send like 10 people on a wedding. And honestly, we didn't know what we were doing, and I didn't learn it in school. So,
you never learned about budget.
I never learned about budget. It was just like spend. But nah, we did. I mean, you don't need 10 people at a wedding. You know what I mean? But that's what we just did. You know, we wanted to capture every moment, right, and make sure we don't miss a moment. But then after we realized 5 people were sitting on the side and the other 5 was actually shooting, there was no need for that. So that was one big thing. We didn't know how to budget. We didn't know how to manage our team. So we did cut that down, unfortunately.
So if that was the case, where like you found out things weren't working, how did you learn to make it work?
Right. Well, no. Okay. One of the things was honestly we weren't profiting a lot. That was the main reason. Like we're like, okay, we're getting all this money. Where is all of this money going, right? And it's going towards everyone that's going to a wedding. And so that was pretty much how we solved that portion. Was like we weren't profiting a lot, and we wanted to profit more. We wanted to live off of our business, and not just try to keep making it, So yeah, that's pretty much the main reason how we learned.
So yeah, if I could have taught you anything before you went off and started One Moment Hawaii that you didn't know, what would that be?
Management, honestly. I didn't know how to manage people. If I was by myself and not at this job, I probably wouldn't know how to manage people. I probably wouldn't know all the photography aspects, even customer service.
Budgeting, your payroll and your employee expenses on the fly. If there was anything that I could have taught you before you left, like what do you think that would have, or what would you suggest to somebody?
Yeah, learn payroll, learn how to budget. I mean, that's a big thing, man. Your team is everything, for your business. That's how you, that's how you grow, pretty much, right? That's how you scale. So if you don't know how to budget, you don't know how to, you can't build your business.
Right. That's something I don't think I learned too much about is how to manage my taxes better. At the end of the year, you see this huge profit and you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. But nobody ever preps you like, okay, you're going to get slapped with all these taxes after. Right. And a huge chunk of your profits is going to go towards that. I mean, is that something that you had to kind of deal with too?
No, well, yes, I had to deal with that. But yeah, you're right. I definitely learned that on the fly. On the fly,
right?
But I wasn't by myself though. Honestly, when I first started, my mom actually helped me out with a lot of the getting off the ground, the legalities, taxes, all that stuff. I didn't know how to do anything, but it was her who taught me how to do use QuickBooks, how to write off expenses, save your receipts, stuff like that. That way, at the end of the year, you're not so, stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
So QuickBooks, do you think is something that you use day in, day out?
Yeah. I even suggest a lot of my guys to use QuickBooks too. Honestly, it's I think it's the easiest platform to use because you could just take a picture of your receipt and it keeps track of all your stuff, all your expenses in your business accounts. Like that.
What other resources, both of us are small business. I use QuickBooks as well. When I think about different resources out there and things that we use on a regular basis, for me, QuickBooks is definitely one. Daily, I'm in there, making sure that all my books are straight and I'm jotting down whatever expenses and everything's lining up properly. But other resources out there for small businesses, once you start to scale up with employees, there's Hawaii Employers Council. You learned a little bit about HR in school, but things have changed since you graduated, sure.
Right.
And with resources like that tells you HR policies, laws, it keeps you kind of up to date. for all you know, one of your videographers could be working way too much and they could be entitled to way more than what you're paying them, but you wouldn't know that because HR policies have changed. So that's like a good resource. Yeah, that's a good resource to use is, Hawaii Employers Council and other resources similar to that, like staffing services or anything like that. I'm not too sure if you use any of that. That currently.
I mean, we did have pro service. That was the only one we had.
Okay.
But we don't have them anymore.
In the wedding industry and the different photographers that you have now, are they employees or?
No, so everyone's contractors, honestly. The only employees is me and Daniel, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are everybody who works for you, you treat them as independent contractors. Yeah. Any reason in particular that you do that?
Honestly, yeah, because it's not like we have a job every day. You know what I mean? They're not working, like full-time jobs, like 40 hours a week. We would get shoots maybe like every other day or so, but it's the hours don't match up pretty much with the full-time job. That's the only reason why. So we save a lot more money, and we don't have to handle their taxes.
Right.
Kind of like they do
it on their own.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you said that for a while you were doing Amway. Is there anything that you learned from there that helps you now with your business?
Yeah. Honestly, it was the connecting of people. To be honest, that and the expenses. Like they did teach me a lot how to like budget. How to do tax write-offs and how to be organized with it, and also how to just talk to people pretty much. That was a big thing to me. I didn't know how, but yeah, it taught me a lot.
As the industry that we're in, photography, how big of a role do you think that is in learning how to communicate?
Yeah, huge. You got to give that good first impression, and then from there, you're selling them to the photography part, and then during that whole photography, that session or that wedding, customer service is big. They want somebody that they could trust, that they want somebody that they know what they're doing. And then after that goes to the editing, and you're still in communication with them. So you gotta really know how to connect with them, talk to them, just know them. From the beginning to the end. Yeah.
Is that a skill that you think? How do you learn that skill?
Man, experience. Honestly, it's not like I learned it overnight. I mean, I've been doing photography for like 11 years now. It took me 11 years to get to where I am today. I'm not nearly where I want to be, but again, it took a while.
So how do you think if somebody's like an introvert or they have all the skills in the world to be a great photographer, but they need to learn this key aspect, like what will we tell them? Like, how do you think they would learn?
If honestly, I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert, and I honestly like hate it. I honestly get stunned when talking to people and stuff like that. But what drives me is like the fear of because I'm my own business. I'm here to survive, and I need to survive, and the fear of going back to not to a job. The fear of going back to a job. I don't want to. I love what I do, and it's such a blessing. But that's what drives me is like the fear of going backwards. So I think with every introvert, you just gotta dig deep and just do it. Just no fear.
So I think with how to, like how we said, like if there's anybody who's looking to break out of a shell, to grow their business, take it to the next step, and learn how to get out there and talk. To be honest, it's almost like you have to fake it till you make it.
You do.
You fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking to a client, if you're talking to a particular client, of course you're going to do a little bit of research on them. You're going to Google them. You're going to figure out their backstory. But at the same time, you need to be able to express like a certain relation to them.
Yeah.
Like already be on their level and be able to communicate with them.
Right. Honestly, if this might sound funny, but honestly, you just gotta really believe in yourself. To be honest, that's the bottom line.
Right.
Like if you wanna build your own business, you just gotta believe you can do it.
Right.
It's it sounds like it's simple, but
No,
it's not.
it
It's a
is
risk.
simple. It's definitely a risk, but then I think as a small business, you have a particular product, I have a particular product,
Mhm.
and um, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, but it's the best product.
Right.
We're the best, and I think if anybody is looking to start up a business or get out there, you have to really believe that your product is the best and sell it
Right.
like it's the best. You have to say what you need to say to show that it is the best. Of course, you're going
Right.
to back it up with the final product,
Right.
but like anything with sales, you have to believe in what you're selling.
Yeah.
And I think for anybody who's looking to be like, oh man, I'm stumped, like I'm a great photographer, I'm a great videographer. Why am I not getting the business?
Right.
First off, it's getting out there.
Yeah.
It's definitely the hustle of picking up the phone, going online, sending out those emails. At one point, I think you actually told me, how many emails did you send out to hotels to be like, hey, want to work with One Woman Hawaii?
Right. Right. And yeah, you're right. I did. We called like, man, every hotel on the island, to be honest, when we first started, because our one of our goals was to be was to be in a hotel and have our own table and serve the tourism market like that. They could just go down to the lobby. Hey, I want to do a photo session. Okay, let's do it, and then right there, boom. So yeah, we called like a bunch of hotels, and then we landed on one, which was the Marriott.
How many throw out a number? How many did you call?
Maybe like about 100.
No, for real, right?
About 100,
Yeah.
but like
I remember
99
you
of them
telling
was
me.
rejections.
Yeah, no, and I remember you telling me that amount, and it was pretty crazy that you called that much, but that one that you landed, I mean, it was a big one. It wasn't just like, oh, your Holiday Inn,
Right.
What? It wasn't it a pretty big,
Right. It was the Marriott Waikiki.
very
And
reputable.
very reputable. Yeah. That hotel is always busy. But yeah, we got, I want to say lucky, but it just took a lot of practice and experience and all those calls to get there. But it was scary talking to the higher ups when we got there for sure.
And you made 100 calls. You got one that landed you guys at the Marriott, which is a super good hotel. I don't know I don't know what that turned into you folks, but then personally, right? Like if I'm making 100 calls, I land that one and it's the Marriott, like how did that make you feel?
Oh, like super excited. My heart was like racing too. I remember, I honestly, I remember that time. We landed it. Actually, Daniel landed it. It wasn't me. It was my partner, Daniel. He's the talker in the company, to be honest. But he landed it. He called me. He was like, "Hey, we got a meeting with the Marriott." I was like, "No way! Like this is really happening right now." And we were super excited. Like we're calling even our other guys, like Dylan, Tyler, and we're all super stoked because it's a big deal.
It is,
especially a company like that who has hotels across the country. Like you don't get that every day. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely a big deal. And then when we met with them, I remember me and Daniel, we actually suited up. We suited up and we're like, okay, let's go. And then we're going in the elevator. I was like shaking. I was like, is this really happening right now? Is this real life or what? But no, it was weird. Like once we got in there, like the guy was very personable, and it was just easy to talk to him and negotiate. So, yeah,
you don't have to go over the exact details of the negotiation, but again, anything you learned in school, anything you learned in here that played a key role in those negotiations that you could, again, anybody watching, like when you go into talking to the Marriott, the Hilton, like, kid, you better bring your A game.
Right.
But what is that A game?
Right. No, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of things I learned over here. It was a lot of the making just personal sales with the prince over there by the computers. But over here by the square, just honestly talking to him and just figuring out what he wants out of our services and what we want out of him. Just kind of finding that middle ground. So that's pretty much what we did. I don't want to get into details, but yeah, we just pretty much negotiated what we both want out of each other, and then from there it was just like smooth sailing. But not gonna lie, that was before COVID, so so we were only there for like a month. The
Oh, and
excitement-
then COVID hit.
Then COVID hit, and then everything was just shut down. It was so
mean,
unfortunate.
After COVID, with, I mean, we're post COVID. Like, what do you think it's going to take for you to get back in there, or back to? Is that, I mean, even that short time, was that even something worth pursuing?
After a long thought about it, to be honest, it wasn't quite worth it. Honestly,
Why?
Like, the rent was actually pretty high, and during that time, I don't know. We could have made it. Depends. I honestly don't know because we were only there for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
But the rent was high, and then I don't know. I don't know if we would have made it or not. But yeah, that was the only thing. So I don't know if we would go back to a hotel because honestly, we're doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Where you guys are now?
it.
What you guys are doing now?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, is it when you say growth, right? For me, like, I grew and I had four locations,
Right.
and I was like, oh shit, this is it. And it was a strong flex.
Yeah.
Like, I'm running all these places, but it was hard. It
Yeah.
was hard because next thing you know, you have to provide the manpower, you have to provide the overhead, you have to provide so many different things to run each location. What is motivating you, or like why do you want to say, oh, I have one moment Iowa, I have one moment Vegas?
What's motivating me was honestly that's been my dream since the beginning. I said it out loud, and that's been it. That's just what me and Daniel dreamed of. We dreamed of like a one moment Iowa, one moment New York, one moment California. When we first talked about it, that's the motivation,
From somebody who's I mean, I didn't have anything outer island, I didn't have everything. I mean, yeah, it would be a super cool dream to have it
Right.
in another state, but like, are you looking to like set up shop like how you have here in Hawaii, or what are you looking for when you branch out to Vegas, to California? What are you looking for specifically?
Man, what? I don't want to say money because that sounds so selfish.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's money, but
like,
then I mean, like, are you looking to like?
Honestly, we just want to serve as much people as we can.
But no, even for you, like, you have to think about like, yeah, for me it's like, oh yeah, fuck, I have 4 locations,
Right.
But I didn't think about each location and what I wanted out of it. Like, I was just stoked that I had 4 locations, but Windward, I had no clue what I was going to do with Windward. I had no like no idea like who we're servicing, what I'm doing there,
Right.
and anything. But I just flexed because I'm in Windward Mall, Pro Ridge, and wherever, like. So same thing for you. Like, how often do you think about, okay, if we are in, as we start to expand into these different states, what are you considering, and what is your end goal, but what is the goal as each location is established? Is it to become a hub? Is it to, when you say service as much people as possible, that's super broad, to tell you the truth. And I think that's kind of where we're, where we're getting is super broad. You can have this super broad goal, which is good. But then when you get to that point, like your identity and who you are as a company, it's like, who are you and what are you, who is One Moment Hawaii? Oh, we're just all over the place.
Right.
It's not anything identifying. And I think that's me talking from experience, having those locations, even though it's here in Hawaii. I think that's definitely something you have to consider as you plan to. Anybody needs to consider as they plan to expand. It's not just doing it for a flex. I did it for a flex.
Right.
I had to fucking close it.
Oh man, like.
Yeah, you got to think about this because I'd hate for you to. I mean, for you, there's no overhead.
It's like the dream, like
it is.
Ain't that everyone's dream though?
It turns into whatever Jolly wants it to be. It turns into whatever California. Yeah, Mike wants it to be.
But
you're gonna have like
but
this.
If you think about it, like if you're expanding to those different states, like the market's not gonna be the same. you're gonna hit a different market. Like Vegas might not be the wedding industry. It might be like a commercial industry. You know what I mean? But what all connects is like it's media. Everything is photography and videography.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is
So
good.
how are you finding out what that market is in Vegas?
Well,
Or-
that's why one of our guys moved there to figure out what's the market. How do we grow it?
What is,
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So basically, if one moment's all over these places, explain to us what is one moment.
Yeah. You're not bringing a particular brand, style, or anything to these locations. You're just setting up shop and just going with what's popular there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
like,
mean.
so if that's the case, yeah, I mean that works. But all you know, like, is that it? Is that? I mean, if that's what you and Daniel
I
envision,
mean, it's not
that's
like
not
it's not
enough.
like we would like stop doing weddings though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that would always be like our bread and butter.
But I mean, to tell you, yeah, definitely that command and conquer is definitely a good mentality to have. But I found out the hard way that you definitely need a roadmap. You need to know identity. You need to know who you are, what your core product is. And to tell you the truth, your core product cannot be media.
Right. Yeah, that's broad.
That's way too broad.
Right.
Right? So like for us, when I go out and talk to our schools, our core product is fall pictures and all those additional services that come with it, right? I'm going out command and conquer the entire island, Oahu,
Right.
and then hopefully go out to Hawaii. It's not outer islands. It's not just putting ourselves in these schools and saying we're your school photographer and not knowing exactly what we're offering, right? And I
Right.
think that's something, as people want to grow, that first they need that initial identity, that initial brand, that product that they're bringing to these different locations. If it's a particular shooting style or what, I think that's what needs to be established first. But not to knock what Jolly is doing
Right.
or what you're doing with Jolly, because he has his own style. But then see, that's the crazy part. You have to think about it like that, right?
It's like we have like a company standard though. Like as far as
this is good,
editing
okay.
wise. Like
Okay.
I mean, you're right. All photographers have like different styles,
Right.
but like as far as like editing wise, like
Mm-hmm.
you see some photographers, they're like either fully saturated or very warm or cold, colors, but we're like natural colors, like
Okay.
and we have one editor.
Uh-huh.
He edits all the photos. for
Oh,
all
even
of
the
us.
stuff that comes from Vegas?
Even the stuff that comes
Oh,
from
wow.
Vegas.
Okay.
And that's how we keep the standard. You know what I mean?
Consistency in your brand.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, you could say we're like you could say like all photographers are like the same. I guess like everyone could edit like how we do. It's not like nothing special.
Right. No,
But-
see, I guess that's something that you need to think about too. What's preventing Jolly from being Jolly Photography Las Vegas?
Like it goes back to the brand. Like he loves the one moment brand. Like even some of like
Meanwhile, Charlie watching this.
I mean, but if I was Jolly, like, I wouldn't,
no,
I wouldn't
for
just
real,
go
yeah.
to you and call you and be like, oh, just I think Momo would do good here. Just because, I mean, yeah, he could start his own company, but it's the brand that he loves, and that's why he called us. You know what I mean? And I think that's why our customers call us too. Sometimes
Right.
we have returning customers and some locals. Some locals been following us since we first started the company. Like, and they were like, and then we shot their wedding, and they're like, wow, I've been following you since you and Daniel first started, since you guys first post, stuff like that. And that's crazy, man.
It is. No, it is.
For 4 years or 5,
I think that's the crazy part, is that any entrepreneur, yeah, it sounds really cliche, but yeah, you just have to get out there and you just have to fucking do it.
It's like, it's survival though. You
It
know
is,
what I mean?
especially here in Hawaii.
Like, I moved out when I quit my job, but like I had to figure out how to make mortgage. You know what I mean? And like that was it. That was my fear factor. Was like I gotta make money, man. How am I gonna do this?
It's a day-to-day 24/7 grind.
Yeah.
That nobody besides yourself as a business owner really sees. And for anybody who wants to start it up, that's the sacrifice.
Right. Right.
That's a sacrifice that comes in, you know, and then you have to also balance your personal life, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure having a supportive fiance
right.
at the time, right?
Right.
It is definitely helpful.
Honestly, man, this is gonna sound very, very weird.
She
But
already said yes, bro. You don't have to spice it up anymore, bro.
No, but I really support these three factors: is faith, family, and freedom.
I mean, explain it.
That's balance, man. That's balance. Faith, because I feel like you really need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in a higher being, and you need to believe in him that he's going to take you to those next levels in life. Family is because you need a family to support you as every step of the way. It might not just be like your immediate family. It could be like your best friends or your friends who you take in as family, but they need to like support you through your downs, through your highs, through everything, man. Like that's how you get there too, and that's balance. And then freedom is because you need to have that dream that dream that you could be free. If you had no time, if you had unlimited time and money, like what do you dream of doing? And I think that's, besides fear, that's like the motivation that you should have. So I strongly believe those three factors will take you places.
Yeah, that's super deep, and that's, it's like, yeah. I mean, you hit it right on the spot. That's I didn't ever look at it from that perspective, but yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Like there's days where you come home and you're like, oh, am I gonna make it the next day? And you really question yourself, but you always tell yourself, you know what? It can always be worse. Like you trust that, hey, you know what? There's always tomorrow. Yeah. There you have it. And for us, what's super lucky is we always have the next day. It's not guaranteed, but you know what? Like, let's sleep on it. Tomorrow we have a chance to make some money. Let's get out there. Let's make some money. And we're in control of that. And I think that's super beneficial for business owners, and yeah, anybody who's listening, I think that's like a huge takeaway is that, like don't trip on like, oh, we're having a bad week. It can always be worse. Yeah. Think about it like that. It can always be worse. And then that kind of puts things into perspective for you to grind and make it better.
For sure.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts that you.
There was days, man, I never got paid for like weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, the month after that, it's like all smooth sailing. So it's just belief,
And like during, whether or not it's during that slow time or, what am I trying to say? I just want to see what, like, I know you don't make up these words about faith, family, and freedom. But what resources are you on a daily basis? Do you watch any type of inspirational videos? Have you watched any type of sales tactic videos that help you on a daily?
Yes, inspirational videos. YouTube, just type in inspirational videos, and then I watch all of them.
Who's like one of the top hits that come up when you type that?
I watch a lot of top hits. No, Joe Rogan. He does pop up a lot. But then popularity, like someone I like is Simon Sinek.
Oh, okay.
Him. But he's very deep in like the sales and the balance and all that stuff.
What about like Eric Thomas?
Oh, him too. Oh, he's very motivational.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm working out, man. He's a workout motivational guy. But nah, he's good. He's good. I love listening to him too. But yeah, I do a lot of research. I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners, because I feel like that's kind of the people you want to listen to. It's like those type of people.
Like-minded.
Yeah.
Like-minded people.
Yeah.
Who have the same, whether or not they're in the same industry or what, but just have that same goal of growth and doing better.
Yeah.
Bettering yourself. You one moment Hawaii strives off of is your reviews.
Right.
Like people find you where?
Google.
And
which is like the biggest search engine
on
the planet.
Do you like out of 100% of your customers, how many people find you on Google? Of your customers, what percentage do you think?
I would say about 70%.
70%. And when they find you on Google, like what else are you doing to maintain, or what are you doing to maintain your A plus 5-star rating?
It all comes down to the customer service, you know, from the beginning. We're communicating with them like that, all the way through the sales process.
Is it
and
all
phone and
reviews,
video.
or is there anything else more that you guys are doing, or is it 100% reviews that are getting you this 70% of your client base?
Yeah, I would say about, honestly, it's like 90% of 90% of it is reviews. 10% of it, every video that we make, we post on YouTube. And YouTube, you know, Google owns YouTube, so that's how we're getting some of those inquiries as well. But just that's pretty much it, man. Honestly, just keep updating your website. If you're not updating anything like on your website, YouTube's, anything,
How often are you updating your website?
maybe like every month.
Every month, on a regular, consistent basis, every month,
consistent
updating your website.
We're updating prices. We're updating words. We're updating. We're posting every video that we make. We post on YouTube, Instagram, everything. The internet.
What other social media platforms are you guys using?
Instagram. Barely. We have a Twitter, but we're not really using it. Yelp. TikTok.
What did you do, or how did you land that initial first gig with Servco?
Honestly, it was just like how I landed the hotel.
Just cold calls.
I just honestly threw out a fat net with anybody, restaurants, anybody, and then Surfco was actually one of the few that actually got back to me.
And when you marketed yourself to them, what did you tell them that made them like, oh shit, yeah, let's work with these guys?
I honestly just shared. Well, this is the commercial side, right? So honestly, I just shared our services, what we do, why this service is important, why photography and videography is important, and just pretty much about us.
Why is videography and photography important?
Every business needs photography and videography. If it's because every business nowadays, everything's on the internet, right? So everything needs photos. If you're gonna post on like Instagram, social media, whatever, even for your website, you need to keep updating your website, and that helps SEOs too. Is like if you're updating your photos or videos, that's how you rank higher. So everyone's either looking at something like a photo, watching something like a video. Those are like, that's why it's so important.
And all
nowadays.
of this kind of stuff is what you pitched to.
Yeah.
To Servco. Did you make something nice and pretty, like in a formal presentation, or how did you do this?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I made a full-on PowerPoint.
Where'd you learn to do that?
School.
And I'm glad that you explained that you did have a thought process and not just threw out like, oh, we're promo media and
Right.
we're here for you.
Right,
You know,
right,
like
right.
you explained specific services. You explained the benefit of those services to the customer. You explained the value of it.
Yeah.
And you must have explained it in a way that it showed them, oh yeah, I do need this, and hey, these guys are legit and these guys can do it for us.
Right.
And next thing you know, you guys are getting paid for it, which is super good.
Right.
You know, out of curiosity, how often do you think you're throwing out these nets to these customers?
I should be throwing them out. I should be throwing them a lot more often, to be honest. I haven't thrown out in a while. No, honestly, well, it's just because, I mean, busy is a bad word, but I'm just busy, honestly. It's just
No, I mean, that's the truth, though.
It's
That
hard.
yeah, it is
to
hard.
balance all of that.
Right, to find that, you know, and I think as you grow, that's why you find like these marketing, you know, like
Yeah.
these marketing specialists who help you throw those nets and get
Right.
your name out there. But being busy is definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, so don't feel like, oh shoots, you know.
Right.
But then at the same time, right, you have that grind, you have that goal where you should be, where you think, oh damn, I should be doing all of this. So yeah, I think as one business owner to another, that's just the daily struggle.
Yeah.
You know, it's finding that balance, you know. And for me, it's separate, you know, I don't know what your work environment is, but for me, I need to literally separate myself from the studio.
Yeah.
It's not even at home. At home, I have so many distractions, you know, and I'm sure you have the same thing too. So in order to find that balance of figuring out what to do next versus the day to day, it's like Starbucks. There's some days I sit in a parking lot and I just think to myself and I start typing on my phone.
Right.
You know, and it's just those times where things come up. They might not turn into like $1 million
Right.
ideas, but you know what? You get your thought out and
Yeah.
you
I think one of the things I don't know, for some reason I actually have working at home actually helps me a lot, to be
Okay.
honest. I really like being alone, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. That's just how I focus though. Like I have to sit in my room or my work room and just sit there and just work and then thoughts just come to me.
that's where
you
the
know?
best ideas come up,
That's where the
right?
best ideas come out. But when I get those ideas, I don't just let them slide. You know, I do jot them down like in my phone. Like I have I have a whole task, honestly, of just ideas and things to do. And
Let's share that and make it happen.
should I share it? I was kidding. No, but honestly, I think if you have ideas, you should jot them down because, you know, I'm a huge believer, and I feel like that's just God telling you to do it. You know, that's just He's just telling you an opportunity to try. You know, and if you don't try it, you never know, right? So, I think it's really really smart to just jot it down. You know, everyone has ideas. Everyone's creative in their own ways. You know, like, so yeah, just write it down.
And what do you think? You said it's a big list. We all have this list of things that we want to do. I know why I can't do certain things, you know, and it does sound like it is an excuse. I'm not going to lie. It's all excuses, but why do you think it's so hard for you to tackle that list?
Man, I'm lazy, honestly. No. Man, I think it's a fear. I think it's the fear. Like, I'm scared it's not going to work. You know what I mean? But that fear also stops me that I don't know if it's going to work. So I think that's the struggle pretty much. Yeah,
It's almost
pretty much.
contradicting what you said before about the freedom,
Yeah, true.
right?
True.
Like freedom to do what you want when you want and be free from
Well, it's not every day I'm motivated, to be honest. You know, I work at home.
right.
You know what I mean? So
I think that's a struggle. I mean, that's another real life struggle day to day that you're not going to wake up every day motivated to tackle the world.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
I think everybody needs to realize that, hey, you know what? There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many days in a week.
Yeah.
And you can't, you know, like you can try to be on your grind every day, but it's okay not to be, right? You got to take some personal days for yourself, clear your head, just do something that's totally not work related and just reset.
I mean, that goes back to what you're saying about balance, right? Like, it's that work / you know, personal time, like, balance that you need as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
You know,
Definitely agree.
Yeah, you could have all the motivation in the world 1 week, but the following week, man, it's like, oh, where did it go? But the week after that, you just got to reset. You know? Yeah.
At what point do you realize that you have to kick yourself in the butt and be like, oh fuck, I have to work, and you know what, back on that grind?
That's a good question. Man, it's a survival mentality again, to be honest. Like, say for instance, I'm like playing video games, but like after playing for so much hours, right? You're like, holy crap, I feel lazy. What am I doing? I need to get back on the grind. But that's real life, though, you know? Like,
No, that's not.
that is. I'm only playing like a couple hours.
Oh,
but
man.
honestly, after a while, you feel like crap. You feel like shit, and you're like, what the fuck did I do? I just wasted like a couple hours of my life.
So I think when you're saying, oh, it survival mode kicks in, right? I think that's a good start because, like, for me, like when, yeah, I guess like you said, it's couple. I guess that's the difference, you know. Like for me, I don't get the luxury of during the day being at home and playing those video games. For me, like, it's sitting up in my office and just being like, shoots, I didn't do anything productive for 2 hours or like an hour. Like, what am I doing? And then I have to get up and kick myself in the butt and be back on that grind.
Right.
And I guess, I was just asking, like, when do you realize, like, or what makes you realize that, oh,
Well,
I have to be back. I mean, it's all like you said, it's all circumstantial. Like you get to be at home.
yeah.
We have so many distractions. We have TV, video games. Fucking, I build Gundams now. It's a thing, bro. I build Gundams. I could get lost in that thing for like
Oh,
hours, and next thing you
man.
know, I realize like, I just had a full staff at my studio. I don't know what they're doing, and I haven't been productive either. And I need to make sure that I am helping them be just as productive as I want to be as well. And that's when I'm like, okay, this is it.
In the morning, it's all OMH because that's when most of the emails, sales, all that stuff comes in.
What are you doing? What are you doing at that point to focus on One Moment Vegas? What's different? Like, what are you doing to focus on another location? What's different?
I pretty much gotta rethink how I built One Moment in Hawaii.
Okay.
I gotta think about how did we get it off the ground, pretty much.
Right.
What did we do what was effective, in posting? What was effective marketing that we did? Effective ideas? What's different for Vegas? So I gotta pretty much shift my mindset to believe like I'm in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, if I lived in Vegas, or if I was going to Vegas, like, what would I want? You know, what kind of photography would I want? What kind of videography? Stuff like that. So I pretty much got to shift my whole mindset.
So are you just putting yourself in a customer's shoes, or are you doing other type of product research as well?
I'm putting myself more as a customer's shoes, but also.
And is that how One Moment Hawaii got as far as it is now, just by putting itself in the customer's shoes, or?
That, and also just asking a lot of the population, like, what would they want? Because a lot of us is connected here in Hawaii, so it's easier to ask, especially if we live here. So we ask family, right? Like, like, what would be?
So how are you doing that for Vegas?
It's good that we have connections there too. Some of my friends live there, so I'll actually ask them, like, oh, what would you want out of like a wedding or a proposal and stuff like that. Plus too, like, a lot of Hawaii people do go to Vegas, so I do ask some of the market here as well, and get their opinion too. But yeah, that's pretty much putting myself in the customer's shoes, but also asking population, like, what they want.
I think that's exactly what we were kind of looking for earlier. Is how it's not just putting one moment Vegas and just stamping it One Moment Vegas. You are doing the product research to look at what is trending, what people are looking for, and putting your own style on it. Right. And that's good.
And then from there, but from there, after like maybe a couple hours, I do focus on promo after that, and then try to hone in on promo as much as I can for like a couple hours. Then 5:30 is just free time, like I go gym and stuff. But
Right.
So yeah, I kind of try to time block my days just to, like, so I could focus on that certain thing, 100%, not just being scattered brain all over.
And I know you said you try to plan the next day, the night before. So 5:30 hits, cook dinner, go gym, come home, cruise with the fiance. She goes sleep at
like 10.
And what's going on from 10? When are you on that grind at night? Are you? Because you said you are the night before.
No, I am. But it's like, I mean, while I'm doing those personal things, like going to the gym, eating dinner, hanging out with my fiance, it's weird. Like, my mind is still like going. Like, it doesn't stop. So like during those times, I might not be working, but I'm still jotting down like ideas and things to do. So that's when I'm kind of creating my day-to-day tasks
for the next day. And I think that's something that only business owners can relate to.
Yeah.
Like that, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like today I went to play soccer, and I was coming home from YPO to Milani. It's a 5-minute drive, and next thing you know, I'm texting one of our team members for our meeting tomorrow, and it's like, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you know, like, not that it's not a sign that you made it, but it's just definitely a sign of commitment to your brand, to your company, and your business. You know, like if you're not thinking about your business 24/7.
Yeah, it's like an addiction, man.
It is.
To be honest,
It is.
once
Yeah.
you get it going, it's like you don't stop, and you don't know how to stop.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah. Yeah.
honest.
You don't know how to turn it off
Yeah.
because I don't know if it's a survival mentality.
Yeah.
Like you've used that word a lot, survival. I don't know if it's necessarily
Yeah, I don't know.
survival for me. I just always want to be the best.
Mm.
Whether or not that's just to survive or what, but I just want to be the best. It's something competitive in me. I play sports or one sport, but I always want to be the best. And I think in order to be the best, you can't sleep. You can't stop and you can't stop thinking about what it's going to take to take you to the next level. And I think that's very contagious, you know, for a business owner, that you need that.
You need that. Yeah. And that's when your best ideas come out, to be honest, too.
It
It's
is. It is.
when you're not working for some
Yeah.
reason.
When you're out of your work environment, when you're least stressed, when you don't have anything weighing you down.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, I have a photo studio that if I looked around, I could find a million things I want to do better. And I can't do any of them because there's so many. And I think separating yourself from that environment in order for you to focus on specific things and executing it, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, fortunate for you, I think a lot of your work is on location, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like you have to go into an office every day.
Right.
You know, and I think that's why working at home really benefits you, because it's not even your office. That's just that's your out. You know, like you're not on location. This is where I can focus. So I think, you know, every business is going to be very situational.
Right.
And fortunately for you, I mean, yeah, you found something that works for you, and that's very good for you, and your schedule.
Yep. Yeah.
Last time you're talking to Daniel, like what are the biggest differences?
I have to be structured. Like I'm a very structured person. Like if say like my timing is off, or like the time I have to go break, or if the process is wrong or something's off, like I get flustered. But he's like the creative side, where like he could kind of just think on his feet kind of thing. That's why we mesh very well, is because like I could build the structure, but he could also like do things that I can't.
Kind of
or I struggle in.
improvise.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you about so many of the things that we talked about tonight. You know, like to consider, like, hey, am I structured or am I more on the fly? And if I am one or the other, this is how I need to structure my day.
Right.
You know, to have that balance. Nobody really thinks about that.
Yeah.
And in order for business to go on a day to day, like for some, they may need the structure like that. And for some who are in a particular work environment, you need to realize that the reason why they're not as efficient and as functional as they want to be is because they need to remove themselves from that environment. And I think those are really good key takeaways that we talked about tonight. So yeah, thank you, man, for coming on. Appreciate it. Good talking to you. Camera Club Hawaii, guys. Tristan Muriyama. One Moment Hawaii. Go check them out. If you guys need any wedding services or anything like that, check them out. But thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next episode.